What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and it looks like Treyarch is really focusing on the Black Ops 6 campaign this week. Yesterday, we got the launch trailer with all new footage of the single player, whereas today, we got a full story recap and a ton of new secrets that got broken down, which you certainly don't want to miss out on. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and as a big reminder, we got plenty of brand new article coverage going up on dkdynamite.com for those who want to stay up to date with all things Call of Duty. Tomorrow's going to be the last major update for MW3, which I'll be live streaming coverage of in the morning, but I also pushed two articles to the top which were written a couple of months ago but are very relevant to today's marketing. So first off, Treyarch did confirm that Alex Mason's death is canon to the Black Ops timeline, and then I also provided a recap of the full 1980s story arc of the Black Ops 2 campaign, which of course takes place before BO6. I'm fully aware though, as I'll get into later, the truth lies is the big message of the Black Ops 6 campaign, so folks out there are still in denial that Mason and Hudson are both dead, but I am rocking the prison jumpsuit for today's video as well. Very excited about the new information. You can also follow me on Twitter at dkdynamite1 and Detonated on Twitter for the hourly coverage, which we're also going to touch on a little bit later in this video since there's quite a few things you guys may have missed from today's trailer. But let's give this a watch. This is the full story thus far since Black Ops 1.
World of Black Ops began in 1961. When CIA operatives Frank Woods, Alex Mason, and Jason Hudson set off on a decade-long journey through the darkest corners of the world.
That's a hard shot.
That journey culminated in 1968, when they stopped a plot to activate deadly sleeper agents embedded inside the United States.
Top-tier
13
campaign.
years later, at the height of the Cold War, Mason, Woods, and Hudson joined fellow operative Russell Adler.
Yeah.
Together, they hunted down the Soviet spy Perseus, leader of a rogue organization intent on dismantling the West.
Another peak campaign.
In 1981, Adler's team prevented Perseus from detonating dozens of neutron bombs placed across Europe. Flash forward to 1986, Mason, Woods, and Hudson learned that South American cartel boss Raul Menendez had moles within the CIA.
It's very
They
important.
tracked the drug lord to Nicaragua, where Woods, after a fierce battle with Menendez, presumed him killed in action.
Top 5 mission of all time.
3 years later, in 1989, a CIA operation in Panama ended tragically when Woods was tricked into shooting and killing his best friend, Alex Mason. Raul Menendez, back from the dead, captured Woods and revealed himself as the mastermind behind the Panama plot.
Sad.
He then killed Hudson and shot Woods, leaving him maimed but alive, so that Woods might suffer as Menendez had suffered.
Suffer with me.
Now, every sacrifice, every secret, every conspiracy has led them to the year 1991. In a time when the enemy has eyes everywhere, how do you know who to trust?
The production of this video, oh my god, that was top notch. The editing was great. They gave us a full story recap in 1 minute and 44 seconds. This is a plot point that really never got resolved, by the way. Who was the mole inside the CIA? How did Menendez get intel? Well, as we're going to dive deeper into with today's blog post, it looks like Russell Adler got framed for being the mole. And you guys might be aware about this plot point in particular because with the Warzone event that we saw several months ago, it was very specifically said that Russell Adler is a mole. And they're referring to this specific mole that was referenced in the Black Ops 2 campaign, right? The 1980s missions. But I know I saw a few tweets earlier talking about this specific shot of Mason.
His best friend, Alex Mason.
That shot right there is the shot that you would actually get in game when you don't shoot him in the head. So some folks are theorizing that they very specifically chose this shot because maybe Mason isn't actually dead. But it is said by the narrator that he was killed. We were shown the timeline at Treyarch several months ago, but I know you guys are fully aware of the truth lies. So you're probably still going to be under the assumption that Mason's alive. But as far as we know right now, according to the canon, he's not. But although Menendez isn't even in the BO6 campaign that we know of, he's still playing a very large role here, right? Suffer with me is going to be a very, very big part of the narrative here. And the reason why I think they're keeping Mason and Hudson dead in the canon is because that's what fuels Woods' arc in the Black Ops 6 single player. So very, very impressed with the way that they put this trailer together. I mean, you can see Stitch in here as well. So the post-launch story of Cold War, seasons 1 through 6, are also canon. But let's take a look at this blog post, right? It's a pretty lengthy one, so we're not going to read everything word for word, but just taking a look at some of the new images and other points that you guys may have missed here. So as they say, dig into the backstory of the Black Ops universe with a rundown of the series' most important characters and events leading up to the start of the Black Ops 6 campaign, which of course is set in the early 90s. So nice new images, as you can see. We got major events with Black Ops 1, Operation 40. That began in 1961. The Numbers program, aka Project Ascension. Some really cool shots in here, just to recap what happened here with the prison break. This is something I'm gonna make a separate video about really soon, because when it comes to Reznov, it doesn't exactly mention that Reznov was killed, right? It just mentions that they get separated in Vorkuta. And guess what? We're going to Vorkuta in the BO6 campaign. So what's gonna happen exactly, right? Are we gonna actually learn more about the whereabouts of Reznov? Yeah. They instigate a prison break to get out of Vorkuta. On their way out, Reznov and Mason are separated. Yeah, Hudson tells Mason in the BO1 campaign that Reznov died escaping Vorkuta. Why is that not said in this blog post? That's a big question, right? And then deployment to Vietnam. We got some more BO1 missions. I love this screenshot, by the way. It's crazy. End transmission, eliminating Dragovich. Mason deploys to the final mission of the game, Redemption, set on the Rusalka, a Russian ship in the Gulf of Mexico. He stops the broadcast of the Numbers program that will activate other sleeper agents. At the end of the mission, after shutting down the broadcast in an underwater facility, Mason encounters and drowns Dragovich. We, of course, have peak Cold War from 2020. Of course, this was developed by Raven, as is the Black Ops 6 campaign. They uncovered Perseus. You meet Russell Adler. You work with Park and Lazar. In the canon, Lazar is, of course, killed. Park lives because she's in the BO6 campaign. And then we have Detonation. The team uncovers that Perseus has found out about the CIA program, Operation Greenlight, in which neutron bombs were placed in major European cities with the intent to self-destruct if the Soviets were to invade and take control. Perseus has acquired one of the bombs and orders a team of scientists to hack his detonation code in order and activate the remaining bombs. Russell, Bell, and false memories. To help Perseus, Adler begins administering psychedelic drugs to Bill at the safe house in an attempt to kickstart Bell's memories of their time in Vietnam together. During the interrogation, it's revealed that Bell never served with Adler in Vietnam at all. Those memories were in fact implanted, to trick Bell into trusting Adler. It's revealed that Bell was actually a lone survivor of the first mission with connections to Perseus. Now they need to find Perseus ASAP. Adler attempts to draw out Bell's true memories to help track down the terrorist leader. They then raid Perseus HQ in the canon ending. Right? Bell does not betray Adler in the canon ending, but then you also figure out that Perseus isn't just a man or a mantle, really. It's kind of a group, and Stitch continues that throughout the post-launch. But what's also not mentioned here in this blog is that Stitch is shot and killed by Adler. It doesn't mention that at all here. It just says Stitch captures and brainwashes Adler in an attempt to flip him to the enemy side, but Hudson and Mason are able to successfully deprogram him after Hudson grows suspicious of Adler's actions. And we know what happens, right? If you guys are familiar with the post-launch of Cold War, they wake Adler up, they snap him out of the brainwashing, and they then take down Stitch's entire crew over in Verdansk, where it's presumed Adler kills Stitch, but that also isn't mentioned here. So is Stitch alive? We don't know. I mean, the truth lies, right? So we'll have to wait and see. But when it comes to Black Ops 2 here, we obviously get information about Menendez saving Woods. I wonder if we're going to get a flashback to when Woods is captured. We never actually see how he's captured or why he's captured. It's just presumed that it was Menendez and his crew that capture Woods, throw him in the box, that container that you guys saw in the BO2 campaign. Mason discovers that Woods has been left for dead in a shipping container on the Cubango River in Angola. Mason finds and saves Woods, the only one of his group to survive, and discovers that Woods had been captured by Menendez, leader of the Menendez cartel. After recovering, Woods wants revenge on Menendez and deploys to Afghanistan to help the military in a fight against the Soviets in exchange for intel on the cartel's leader's whereabouts. And they also find out Kravchenko's there, which is after the events of Forsaken, by the way, from Cold War Zombies. But death of Josefina, that changes everything. That is Menendez's sister. She is killed with Woods' efforts to capture Menendez. Very, very unfortunate. She was collateral damage, right? She got declared dead by the CIA, but Woods and Mason harbor some doubts about this. That's interesting, too. Menendez and Josefina are declared dead, but Woods and Mason harbor doubts about this. I guess they only doubt that Menendez died. They don't doubt that Josefina did. But Nexus 1, debilitated by Raul Menendez. This is very important for the BO6 story, right? Fast forward to 89. Woods and Mason are in Panama during the American invasion, seeking a target known as Nexus 1. Woods ends up seeing Nexus 1 through a sniper scope, a bag over his head to hide his identity. Over comms, Hudson, who had been captured and forced to relay this false info by Menendez, tells Woods that Nexus 1 is Menendez and directs Woods to execute him. Woods takes the bait and shoots Nexus 1, only to discover that he has been tricked and has executed his friend, Alex Mason. So I know there was a tweet put out about this as well. framed as a mole after the disaster in Panama where Frank Woods was maimed. Adler fled without a trace. So we don't see Adler in the Black Ops 2 campaign, but he was framed. That is insane information that we didn't really know until today, by the way. So Menendez appears and shoots Woods in the knees, establishing his need for a wheelchair in the 1991 BO6 timeline. Afterward, Hudson sacrifices himself so that Woods may live. Now Woods will suffer as Menendez has suffered from the loss of his sister. David, Alex's son, is also present for his father's death, joining Woods in the immense suffering that the event causes. BO2 also takes place in the future of 2025, though these events occur after the 91 timeline of BO6. This is also getting misinterpreted, as I could see on Twitter today. Yes, Black Ops 2 is still fully canon. The ending that's canon, however, is kind of up in the air. I do believe the ending where Menendez dies is the canon one because Black Ops 3, which is far in the future, establishes that. And according to the timeline that us creators saw several months ago at the studio, Black Ops 3 and 4 are also still canon. Hopefully that's very clear. But we also get some bios here of Frank Woods, Russell Adler, and here in the Adler description, we get information about the CIA mole plot point, right? Framed as a mole after the disaster in Panama, Adler fled without a trace. He is now considered a person of interest by the CIA with a capture or kill order in effect. That is really important to know. Overall, I think this is a great way to weave Adler into the story better, especially when it comes to the 90s, since he wasn't present in the Black Ops 2 2012 campaign. Instead of creating some plot holes, they've since just retconned something that wasn't ever really elaborated on to begin with. And I'd be curious to know what Adler was doing for those 2 years while he was off the grid. I'm sure BO6 is going to reveal that, but either way, Treyarch never misses when it comes to the story. You got the return of Helen Park. I know people are really big fans of her. And then the next chapter of Black Ops, as it says here. Every sacrifice, every secret, every conspiracy led to the year 91 in a time when the enemy has eyes everywhere. How do you know who to trust? This is also really cool. So as we put out a tweet about earlier today, it looks like campaign rewards are indeed going to be released this year. So part 2 will also share the campaign rewards that you'll earn for progressing in the story. So there's gonna be part 2 to today's marketing. Maybe it's tomorrow, but I know tomorrow's the MW3 event, the Rewind Challenge experience. So maybe on Thursday or Friday, they'll end up dropping a bit of info on what's going on. So yes, we are gonna earn rewards for beating the campaign, and there'll probably be some additional narrative information as well about some of the new characters that you guys may not be familiar with. But very interesting marketing we got today. Yes, the post-launch is canon. Stitch captures or brainwashes Adler. Very, very cool to confirm. The seasons 1 through 6 definitely matter when it comes to the Black Ops universe. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the campaign story so far? I'm sure we could end up getting some more marketing later this week for multiplayer progression, maybe even something to do with zombies, or they'll save that for next week. It's actually unknown. But so far this week, they have started everything off on a bit of a bang when it comes to the campaign, new gameplay, and some secrets that you guys may want to know a little bit more about. When it comes to Reznov, I have a separate video planned talking more about that because that's actually really interesting. And then I'll, of course, make further campaign-focused videos as new information is released. Really hope you guys have enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.